Hi guys, with us we have Sumeet Deshpande. Sumeet Deshpande have scored 214 in NMAT, and we'll know from him how he prepared and what else he do. Before we start, can you tell us your background?
So I'm a computer engineer. I passed out from DJ Sangvi in the year 2016. Post that I was working with Oracle for approximately 2 years, and I left my job and I started preparing for all the competitive exams post August.
Okay, so when you thought of giving exam, when you thought of giving exam was after your leaving job or before leaving job?
No, it was before leaving job only, and it was a thoughtful decision. And post August, I wanted to prepare for MBA only. So that was the primary
Primary
reason
reason.
why I left my job.
And so why I'm asking to know, was there a significant difference in your preparation while working and after leaving job?
Yes, because I had a very hectic schedule in my office. I used to work on Saturdays as well. So I didn't really get much time for preparing while I was working. I tried to prepare, but it wasn't really happening that seriously. So I thought because I had completed 2 years of work ex also, so which would play in my favor, and I thought that why not take a risk now and attempt all the competitive exams.
Right, that's a very good advice to all the students that if you're planning to leave your job, so try to do which job first. In case you're not getting time, then you can quit. Because कभी कभी क्या होता है कि public को लगता है they can sit at home and study. It can backfire as well. You lose your confidence, you lose your the edge about preparation. So okay, so yeah, and you have already have 2 years of work, which is the ideal time to go for MBA.
Yeah.
So you made a quit. तो बीच में थोड़ा टेंशन आया था बीच में कि यार क्या हो गया, गड़बड़ हो गया, घर बैठा हूँ, जॉब सैलरी नहीं आ रही, because पैसा is one of the main factor which is there.
Yeah, so that's there. When I left my job, it felt that yeah, ठीक है, easy है, कर लेंगे. You just have to prepare, just study hard. But it's not like that. When you leave your job, there are highs and lows. You feel motivated, you feel demotivated at times. So more or less than the hard work, it is also a mental game, which I would say after you leave your job, because when you are in your job, there's always a second try that yeah, if I fail this time, there is one more chance. This time I had to perform, so that pressure was also high. So
That's what I feel. As an engineer, we work when there's a pressure. Like always make the handouts one day before the night. पहले आदत ही नहीं काम करने का, last day ही काम करने का आदत.
yeah.
Okay, so if you talk about NMAT, so you gave all the 3 attempts.
Yeah.
So what were your scores in each of the attempts?
So in my first attempt, which I gave approximately in October, so I scored 197 in that, and after that, in my second attempt, I got 211, and in my third attempt, I scored 214.
Great. So and how many mocks you gave?
I gave approximately 30 mocks.
Okay, that's one of the highest I have heard this year, that 30 marks. In fact, this is the first episode of the season. So this is season 2 for TV toppers. So first we have from NMAT, because NMAT is the first result to come out across all the exams. So can you tell me the breakup? How many marks you gave for every attempt? First attempt से पहले कितने mark दिया होगा?
Yeah, so that was also a strategic planning, because for NMAT there were a very few mocks which actually made sense. I mean, in the market you will get
Only
many
quality mocks are very
yeah,
few, right?
quality mocks are very few. So CETking mocks were good. Then I'd given Deshpande and probably Olive Board, and of course the NMAT by GMAC official mocks.
Mocks were there.
I had bought all the 4. So
Okay.
2 were free, I guess. 2 I had to buy. So during before my first attempt, I didn't use all the mocks. I gave almost 10 mocks, 10 or 12, because it shouldn't happen that I give all the best mocks in my first attempt, and then for my second, third attempts I'm left with no mocks, because provided you never know what will happen in the first attempt. So I gave 10, 12 mocks in the first. During the second attempt, I gave approximately 10, 12, and in my third attempt, I gave 10, 12. So it was divided 10, 10, 10.
Almost 10 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So 197 आया. Was there a strategic difference between your strategy as well while performing? What is the order of preference? First of all, start with that.
Yeah, so my order of preference while solving all the 3 attempts was the same, but yeah, I improved my strategy a bit. in the later attempts. So my order was I used to solve verbal first, which was followed by LR, which was followed by Quant. So in verbal, I was a bit weak at RCs, so I always used to focus more on the grammar and vocab part.
Non-RC part, right?
Yeah, non-RC part, and RC I used to solve in the last 10 minutes. So it was 22 minutes, and I solved the grammar questions and other questions in around 12 odd minutes. 12 to 15 minutes, and the remaining time I spent with RC. And in my first attempt, I got 59 in verbal, which was a bit lower than the last year's cutoff, which was 60. So I understood that I need to focus more on the verbal part, because it might happen even if I get a good score and I don't clear the verbal section ka cutoff, I might be in trouble. So that is why I focus more on verbal. So in my second attempt, I got 60, and in my third attempt, I got 67.
Okay, great.
So I didn't do much as in to improve for verbal, to be very honest, because probably improved my timing, and RCs in my third attempt I felt they were a bit difficult. So I focused, of course, but the rest all questions I got right. Then in logic, I just used to solve as per the order. I was a bit better at critical reasoning and the assumptions, inferences part. So, and I used to solve the puzzles in the end. Like it was a 38 minutes, 40 questions exam for logic. So I solved the puzzles in the last 10-12 minutes. And of course, I was a bit weaker at puzzles. So I could solve one puzzle, maybe one or two.
And from quant point of view, DI first, then
Yeah. So
quant or quant first, then DI.
yeah. So quant, what I did was I didn't in the first 10 minutes. I mean, after the verbal and the LR section, I used to feel a bit exhausted. So what I did was in that exhausting time, while the time I was exhausted, so in the first 5-10 minutes of the quant section, I just went through the entire paper. I didn't solve a single sum.
Okay, together kind of
Yeah,
आराम मिल गया
yeah. This strategy I applied for my second attempt and third attempt as well. So my first attempt and second attempt, I changed the strategy for quant, which helped me maximize my score in quant. There was not much difference in strategy in the second and the third attempts, but yeah. So I went through all the questions in quant. Post that, I selected a few DI sets which I felt were easy. So in the DI sets, I solved almost 2 or 2.5 sets, and in quant also, basically because I went through the entire paper, I knew the locations of the sums which are easy, which are difficult, so I don't waste time on the hard sums, which because I know there is a easy sum behind or ahead. And in the DI set also, DI set it was like आपको देख के ही पता चल जाता है कि whether it is you can solve it or not. So when in that 5-10 minutes, that was very crucial. So it helped me decide which sums I need to solve and which I don't. So in my second attempt, in my first attempt, my breakup was quant I got 70, verbal I got 59, and LR I got 68. And in my second attempt, I got in verbal 60, LR was 66 only, quant I got 85. So
Third attempt.
yeah, in the in the second attempt.
Okay.
So that was a major jump in quant, and I believe that helped getting to one.
So yeah, if I summarize here, so from quant point of view, your strategy was brilliant. That scan the paper first.
Yeah.
Even it taking 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. Great. So because understand what is easy, what is.
Yeah.
Same thing you did for the RC and verbal and logic as well. Like you did puzzle in the end.
Yeah.
And RC you did in the end, so that you already know. Because RC you can feel and tell कि कौन सा easy, कौन सा tough है.
Yeah.
Quant में पता नहीं चलता unless you see the question.
Yeah, exactly.
So you scanned the paper and did that. Brilliant. So that's a very good strategy for everyone to follow. That you have to scan the paper because it's a speed game. You can't do every question. So pick up the ball which are more easy to score.
Correct.
and because there's no negative marking, so तुक्के वो भी मारे थे कि last में रखा था time तुक्के के लिए.
No, what I used to do was, because in the last you may get or you may not get time. So if I don't know a question, I used to mark it at that
Immediately, right.
instance of time
Makes
only.
sense.
Even for RCs, what I did was, let's say in the verbal section, there are 2 RCs in the start only. Although I used to solve RCs in the end, I used to mark the questions and go ahead. And after that, I used to solve the RC actually. So that is what I did, because NMAT is a very time and speed based exam. So time is very important in NMAT. So if you mark all the options in the start only, so you don't have that pressure that you have to spare 2 or 1 more minute to mark the other questions, just for the marking the questions. So that is what I follow.
Okay, I've got last 2 questions from you. Number 1, how many hours you studied in general, and number 2 is 3 attempts required?
Okay.
Or if you would have strategized better, 2 attempt में हो जाता, because giving 1 attempt like 4,500 का खर्चा.
Yeah.
तो जब 2 में हो रहा है तो 3 क्यों देने का? So let's have a second question first. So do you think, now because you have done it and you have given 3 attempts, do you think 2 attempts could have been sufficient?
I feel yes. First attempt, I felt that my strategy went wrong and my strategy had a few drawbacks. So that is why I couldn't perform as well in quant. So what happened was, in first attempt I understood that getting 60, 60, 60 and clearing all the sectional was easy. Like it was not easy, I would say. It was not that difficult. But getting a 210 was still difficult, because you need to maximize your score in either 1 or 2 of the sections. So I feel that I understood from my first attempt. Probably if I had planned better, I would have got that in the first attempt only. But 210 is, I feel, achievable in 1 or 2 attempts. I was trying for a 220 in the third attempt probably, but unfortunately I couldn't get that. But probably I feel even in the third attempt the quant score was scaled a lot. I was expecting about an 80 plus in quant, but I got 79. So that is what I felt. Otherwise I might have crossed 220, you never know. So that is there, but I feel that 1 or 2 attempts is good for NMAT. Some people crack in 1 attempt also. But yeah, after getting 211, the main objective for giving the third attempt was getting 220 only.
Otherwise,
yeah, that was there.
Great. And how many hours you used to study?
I used to study around 4 to 5 hours. Yeah.
और बाकी टाइम क्या करते थे?
बाकी टाइम ऐसे कुछ नहीं, but yeah, I used to analyze the mocks. I mean, if I give a mock in one day, like it took 2 hours for one NMAT mock, I used to spend the rest of the time analyzing and how could I better my strategy day by day. So that was my.
And how many mocks per week?
Mocks per week. See, I focus more on NMAT because I found CAT really difficult. So I focus more on NMAT, and I used to give around 4 to 5 mocks a week. So that's there.
Okay, great. And last question, how CET helped you to get your score?
Yeah, CET King was instrumental in the mocks. So I feel the mocks were very good. I joined CET King after my first NMAT attempt. So I mean, even the lectures which I attended, so in a few lectures, the puzzle solving lectures and all, I got to know a few shortcut tricks which I initially didn't apply during my first attempt. So even that helped.
And that is the thing, yeah. People don't appreciate the shortcut ka thing, because they don't understand the speed is important.
Yeah.
I think that's the main reason is CAT, because CAT में you don't need speed. CAT में तुम चल जाता है बिना speed के. But SNAP, NMAT, all the non-CAT exam is all about the speed game. So this is where our shortcuts came into picture.
Yeah.
Great. So thank you very much for suffering. All the best. Hope you do well for the other exams as well. Same feat.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.